Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and this is the next video in my 2023 New Year's build project vlog, and the time has come to get TYR involved. Starting with TYR's tank. Now, ultimately, I would like to replace TYR's agitator and blower with the modern Proton pack, but since none are currently available, I am instead going to retrofit TYR with a gizmo that I recently acquired. This is a DC current sensing relay. So when this gizmo detects a sufficient amount of current, it flips a switch, which I assume is a MOSFET switch. It's all self-contained, super nifty. More details on that later. And so right now the way TYR works is there is power in the backpack, which does make this whole process a lot easier. You plug a battery in here, power would then go out to the blaster. When you activated the blaster, it would send power back to the backpack to turn on the backpack. And that's all well and good, and it does work, but that's not the way the fancy Out of Darts pack works, and so I would like to be able to make this pack work with any of those blasters, which means it needs to operate the same way that they do and all of that. And since none of them have a circuit to return power back, it needs to use current sensing, and since I now have a gizmo that can do that, I'm gonna hook it up so it does. Now there are currently two sets of wires, one that sends power to the blaster, one that brings power back. However, I can instead use that second circuit that was previously in here to be the manual activation circuit that the Out of Darts packs have. I will simply need to wire in a MOSFET that gets completed when you complete the circuit on that second one, retrofit it to have the 3.5mm audio jack, and we're good to go. So it should have all of the features of an Out of Darts Proton pack, just not on a nice, neat, svelte little board that's super easy to solder and has everything and it's beautiful. I love them, I want more of them, but since I don't have them, I'm going to make do, and hopefully this will work. We're gonna find out today. So I have to figure out how I did the wiring on this because I did it years ago and I probably had no idea what I was doing, and the soldering is horrific. But and there's stuff living in here. That can't have been good. Surprised this thing still works at all. Alright, so here's our power coming out. That's all well and good. This thing requires power, and it will take between, I think, 5 and 35 volts, or 8 and 35 volts. I'm using 12, so I can run it off of the same battery everything else is running off of. I will then be able to switch positive through the switch, so that will activate the tank, and then power going out to the blaster. So it's going to be a little bit trickier wiring, but shouldn't be too difficult. it actually works. I got it all wired up. I did end up going ahead and completely rewiring it. The old wire was a rigidish copper wire that was just not pleasant to solder, so I went ahead and redid it all. It was just much easier. And yeah, there's a lot more wire. Well, not really a lot more, but there are some more wires. And I don't yet have the MOSFET wired in, which would require even more, but not a whole lot more. Anyway, I've got my Jupiter plugged into it, so if I plug a battery in here, I don't know how well you're actually going to be able to tell, but when I pull the rev, the pack turns on. Why is there... What? Glad I spotted that before it got sucked into the agitator. Anyway, it is currently dark, so I cannot demonstrate it, and I do still need to make one minor modification to tier for now. I do plan to make some significant upgrades to tier in the near future, but for now, all I need to do is make an adapter from the XT60 that this currently uses to the plug that tier uses, and that shouldn't take but a couple of seconds, so I'm gonna do that real quick. If I can find the right plug. That's not the right plug. Now for the real question, does it work with tier? Well, we about to find out. Assuming I got this wired right. Right, well now we wait until the sun comes up. Well, you don't have to wait, I have to wait. Editing is magic. Anyway, to the range after these potential messages. Right, I'm here on the range. It is more damp than I would like, but not damp enough to stop me. We are going to test the upgrades to the tank simply by dumping what was already in it, which was some yellow arrival. And then I'm gonna test tier with one of the newer tanks, because that's a question I've had, is how much of tier's rate of fire is limited by the rate that the backpack can feed, because this is an older style. So I'm going to use my travel pack and see if actually it increases tier's rate of fire just by switching to a modern tank, or an out of darts tank. So let's hose some stuff. Seems to be drifting to the left slightly. I wonder if one of my motors is starting to go out. Can you? Yeah, you can see. Round's complete! I'd fire a rocket now, but I forgot to bring one. Right, let's try the newer tank. We're fogging up. Curse this damp. Anyway, in my travel pack, the smaller pack, I have a different ammo. An ammo I don't know that I've ever shot on this range before. You all pointed out that the ammo from Wednesday, which wasn't actually X-Shot ammo, it was Adventure Force ammo. I got it wrong. It was the orange Adventure Force triangle grid pattern. Anyway. Today I've got the white Proton rounds, which are, as far as I know, you can't get anymore. Proton ammo was by far the best rival ammo anyone ever had, but for economic reasons it's gone away. Maybe it'll come back, maybe it won't. Anyway, hopefully it'll be easier to see through the fogged lens. Nothing I can do about that. Let's see if it feeds any faster. Honestly, if anything, it feels slower. Weird. Definitely drifting left. Anyway, before this thing fogs up anymore, I'm gonna clean up this mess and pontificate, talk about it. Back to the shop! Right, well, that was a lot of fun. Oh, there was still some ammo in there. Nary a flaw. Went off without a hitch, or at least so far. We will continue to test, obviously, and see just how it holds up to long-term use. I did review the footage, and it definitely seems that the newer pack was getting a little bogged down. Here are the two firing one and then the other and then back and forth, so you can see the difference. They start out about the same, and then the newer one kind of tapers off. Which, there could be a number of reasons for that. The most likely one is that the battery was getting a little low. Again, more testing would be needed, but as you can hear now, it's pouring rain again, so I mean, I could test here in the shop, but it's not quite as much fun. Anyway, I am absolutely pleased with how this turned out. I did end up choosing not to install the MOSFET. I was having some trouble getting it to work with on the same circuit as this, and I don't know if they were interfering with each other or if I was wiring it wrong because everything's all kind of jumbled up in here. When the next one of these arrives, I've ordered some more. I will then try breadboarding a circuit to see if it is in fact possible to have the MOSFET and this at the same time. The MOSFET itself does actually draw power, and so it's entirely possible it was actually tripping the current sensor, though it shouldn't have? Question mark. I'm not entirely sure how the two gizmos work 100%. So some experimentation may be needed, and I didn't have time to keep tinkering with it here. So that is where this will stay for now. Now, as I mentioned, I didn't have to make any modifications to TYR at all to be able to work, because TYR already operated where the battery was in the backpack, and so that's still how this operates. There is no difference there. The only difference is I'm no longer having to send power back to the backpack because I have that current sensing switch, which is really, really cool. But I do plan to make upgrades to TYR. I have some very big, ambitious plans for upgrades to TYR, but I also have some simpler plans in mind, and we will see how that all works out in the end. I also obviously still need to repair the smart gun, and that's going to be a much more involved process, as I plan to completely replace the internals, most likely. Depending on actually what went wrong. I have no idea. I still haven't opened it up since I got back from Texas over a year ago now. Good Lord. It just quit working on the field, and I never did figure out why. So that'll be probably a much more involved project. TYR's upgrade is going to be a much more involved project. And so neither of those are likely to be done. Well, I'm not going to get them done over the weekend because I've got crew stuff going on, and so this project may take a week off, or I may work on some other simpler projects if other parts arrived. I am still waiting for parts as well, so there will be more. I have a whole nother blaster to build because of various reasons, and some other gizmos that were sent to me that I want to test that should actually be pretty nifty. We will see how all that works out. So there is more to do, but I am also going to probably start returning to some other previous videos just because, I don't know about you, but I'm getting kind of tired of Proton packs at this point. Anyway. There's where the project stands for now. There will be more. There is going to be fun stuff. I have plans. Getting my hands on this technology opens up a bunch of doors and lets me do a lot of fun stuff. So stay tuned for more. and thank you for watching.